Dan Bernstein Unfiltered. Unfiltered on 312 Sports.
It's time for Dan Bernstein Unfiltered here on 312 Sports. A happy Friday to all involved. I'm Dan Bernstein. That is Maddie Batacola. What's happening, man? I can't hear you for some reason. Is your
Let me try
microphone
turning
on?
my mic on. There we go.
Turn
How's
my
that?
mic on. That's
It's
better.
such a sensitive button, and
I know.
I just touch it to move it, and it goes off.
I know. Same with mine. I know. This is let me just say out front for this day. We know Fridays on this show are fun and silly and stupid, and we're going to keep it that way. So there's some serious stuff that I want to get out of the way to start, and then I promise we're going to get silly and stupid and do our best to stay that way because that's how I prefer it, and because we're going to do Friday feedback, and I told Matt, I texted him late last night. There were some emails that came in late, specifically for Feedback Friday. Are we calling it Feedback Friday or Friday Feedback?
I think we're calling it Feedback Friday.
Feedback Friday.
But I always call it Friday Feedback, but we're calling it Feedback Friday.
I know. I transpose it too. So these came in, and Beth is trying to sleep, and I'm lying there, and I'm laughing so hard that she is like kind of hitting me. Stop it. So I had to leave the room, get out of bed, and leave the room to read some of these submissions that came in that are just spectacular.
And these were the submissions that you asked me not to look at.
Correct. And
Okay.
I said, please, because they were emailed to both of us. And I sent a text to Matt, and I said, please don't read these because I want you to hear them for the first time when we do Feedback Friday. So we're going to do that. And we are also going to bring you our top 10 giants. We've been putting in the work for that, are going to be coming your way. And I've got the winners for you, just like I did on Monday. I can't keep track because I'm such a god.
It was Monday, yeah. I mean, there's so many of like picks to choose from that hit and win. It's just, yeah. It's a plethora.
A plethora of piñatas and a plethora of picks. And it's that time of year. It is the time of year where all these sports are happening. Now that baseball has just ended, but we were looking toward free agency and qualifying offers and all that, it feels like we are still in the sports equinox. All right, let me do this first, and that is to take note of the attention paid yesterday to the tragic death of Marshawn Kneeland of the Dallas Cowboys. And I've read all that's happened about the 24-year-old who was found dead of what is believed to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound. And the reason I bring this up in large part has to do with what we're finding out after the fact was known about his downward spiral, about people close to him talking about suicidal ideations, talking about what he has gone through since the death of his mother right around draft time. And I hope that he had support available to him. And what makes me scared and sad is to think about finding out after the fact what everyone knew. When his girlfriend said, "Oh my God, he's going to end it all," that this shouldn't be after the fact. I would love to know. And this isn't a blame game. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to use this to say, what did they know and when did they know it and find this all out. It's my hope that this can be used in a way, I don't want to say used is also the unfortunate word. I hope that other NFL teams and the league itself and other sports teams can be more sensitive, more empathetic, more open about making sure everybody in their organization has access to the help that they need. We don't know what anyone is going through. We don't know. Everybody has their, and maybe it's also what we were talking about yesterday regarding the John Candy documentary, and how you never know. You never know what anybody is going through. So I want to use this platform to mention the number for the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline is 800-273-8255. 800-273-8255. There's also 988lifeline.org. I'll say that again, 988lifeline.org, or the ability to call or text the number 988. And that's for you, and that's for anybody you might know. I just want to make sure that you have that information, because to see a 24-year-old, there was a moment of silence at last night's football game in Denver, and it should be more than just that, and more than memory, and more than silence. It should be the opposite of silence, and it should be an understanding of 988lifeline.org, of the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, of 988. Just ask people how they're doing. Reach out, take the time, instead of sitting with your headphones in or keeping your nose in your phone. When you just ask, and mean it. When you ask somebody, how are you? Mean it. That's all. It's always hard in football specifically, because of the injury reports and toughness and playing through things. But you can't see anxiety, depression, suicidal ideation. You can't see it. Coaches don't seem to understand it. And I hope we're getting to an inflection point where coaches are better about it. And I heard some wonderful things yesterday from some coaches. Matt Rule of the University of Nebraska was exemplary in taking 3 minutes of his press conference to talk about it and how he handles it with his team. So it's my hope that within sports and elsewhere, that there's going to be an understanding and a dedication to appreciate some of these structures, and be empathetic, be aware, and ask people how they're doing.
Dan, I know that empathy isn't one of the more natural characteristics that men have in particular, and is not really prevalent in our culture today. But I think one practice, one rule of thumb to live by, which is really, really valuable, is to live by that whole credo that you just don't know what people are going through.
Right.
And to use that as a filter to interactions that you have. Not even beyond how are you, and really if you identify someone or see someone that seems out of place or out of character for that individual, hey, how are you? See what's going on. But when you have a negative interaction with someone, maybe someone you don't know, give them a little grace. Now, it's not about giving license to someone to be an asshole, but someone may be going through something. And take those interactions that you have that may be negative, especially with someone you don't know, as an opportunity to say, all right, I don't know what's going on here. Do I need to add fuel to the fire here and be combative? Or is it more valuable for me and my own well-being to just walk away from this situation?
And I'll just be straight up. It's something that I've never been good at, and it may just be my own, and has been my own self-centeredness, egotism, solipsism, whatever it may be, entitlement, privilege. And it's something I know I need to work on, everything you just said, but it's worth it to do so. And it isn't easy, but other people in my family set a better example than I do, and I'm around it every day. They're just better at it than I am. And I'm aware of the effort that it takes to do that, and the emotional bandwidth and emotional intelligence it takes to do that. And that's something that can be developed, I hope.
No, it certainly can. And it's something that if you're conscious of and work towards in your character, because empathy is not something that's very natural or easy for me. but I need to take the steps and the time to think through, what is this person telling me? What am I seeing from this person? How can I react in a way that says, hey, I hear you, I see you, I can understand what you're going through. Maybe I can't feel it on a personal level, but I recognize there's something happening with you right now, and I'm here for you. The thing with me that's been most difficult is I'm a fixer. And I hear a problem, I want to create a solution. And a lot of times in conversations I've had with my kids or my wife, it's not about creating a solution and fixing their problem. It's just being an ear and saying, I understand that must be hard for you. What can I do for you?
It's so funny that both in this house, I often get that response saying, Dad or Dan, we're not in solution mode right now.
Yeah.
They always they say, look, we're not, this isn't a puzzle you're doing. We're not in, you're not completing a puzzle. You're not filling in empty spaces. We're not in solution mode right now. We're just in listening mode.
Yeah.
And I need to be reminded of that, because and a lot of what we do is very fast paced and rhythmic and next, and it's a different way to attune your senses, and it's hard.
Yeah, no, it is hard. And I think for each individual, we are in various levels of ability on that. For me, it's pretty hard, but I'm better at recognizing that as I'm in that conversation, they don't need something from me other than me being there for them.
Okay, can we? I think that I'm going to put a stop in there, and can we start being silly and stupid?
Well, we've never stopped. It's just, that's our true nature. Where empathy we have to work towards, being stupid and silly is pretty much who we are.
I default to being and having both the actual and emotional intelligence of a 9-year-old. So that's generally where I'm comfortable.
So you've matured.
Yeah, I'm moving up in the world.
Man.
I've gone from my tantrum throwing toddler phase up into, right around, let's say, a 4th grader is about where I am right now. So yeah, I'm getting there. Last night's football game, I've never seen a wackier punting game. The entire first half, the story was the punters. On the one hand, or the one foot, you have that Raiders guy, AJ Cole, who all of a sudden if he didn't get somehow get some kind of recognition for having a 54-degree wedge on his foot, unbelievable. At first, he does a coffin corner and puts it out at the 1. And I don't know how they judge that. I don't know how the field judge just stands there and immediately knows exactly where it went out. But the second punt was even better. I don't know, it was a second, whatever next one I noticed lands inside the 5 and bounces 90 degrees out of bounds. Just takes an immediate right angle turn out of bounds again at the 1 or inside the 1 or wherever it was. Just insane punting. Meanwhile, the Broncos punter, Jeremy Crawshaw from Penrith, New South Wales, developed a case of the punting yips I've never seen. Bears fans remember famously in the 1985 playoff game, the divisional playoffs against the Giants, when Sean Landeta whiffed on the punt because the wind blew it off his foot and Sean Gale picked it up and the Bears scored their first touchdown.
Yep.
This guy couldn't drop the ball on his foot. I don't know. I've never seen punting yips before. He could not drop the ball on his foot. And eventually, the next he had one that he got off like a 54-yard punt, and everybody in the crowd was, yay! Punter punted successfully. I hope he's okay, because I've seen the baseball thing that we know famously, the Chuck Knobloch, the Mackie Sasser, the Steve Sachs. We've seen any number.
The Steve Sachs stuff was.
Oh, it's all scary, and I mean the whole book was written about it, The Art of Fielding by Chad Harbach, wonderful book. I mean, not perfectly written, but it's a great story. The putting yips we've seen before, where somebody just can't calm their nerves enough or can't quite get everything aligned. We've heard of the twisties in gymnastics. I had first heard that term from Simone Biles, and I heard Allie Race when they were describing what the twisties are, but I'd never seen punting yips until last night. So I just wanted to note that as well.
Did you mention, wasn't it John Lester had a hard time?
Oh, he's throwing to
the ball
first.
from the mount? Yeah.
Yes. He had a hard time. And a lot of pitchers have struggled with the throw to second base, of being able to pick it up and make that throw to start a double play. That's been difficult. And that's because a lot of pitchers just aren't good athletes. They throw a ball as hard and as with as much spin as they can. It doesn't necessarily make them all good athletes. But that was a thing last night, and that was a terrible football game.
Yes, it was.
Oh my God. It was so bad.
Yeah, that's remnants of like several years ago Thursday Night Football. Remember how bad it was for a couple seasons?
Well, usually it gets worse as the season goes on, and had gotten worse because they just didn't schedule enough rest time, and the guys weren't recovered. They just weren't recovered, and there was no spring. Nobody was flying around. But they've understood it better to give teams some breaks in the schedule to have them a little more ready to play. So I'm glad for that. Are you prepared now for Feedback Friday?
I'm anxious. I'm excited. I shouldn't say anxious. I'm excited.
Anxious meaning eager?
Yeah, eager. I'm eager to hear, because I'll be honest with you. After you texted me, it was hard not to go to the phone and take a look at the email, because I'm sitting on the couch watching the game. Like, I want to look, but I didn't look.
Okay. All right. I'm glad that you didn't. I'm going to build to it here. But we're going to start with there was people have been. This has been great, by the way. Thank you for. There's a lot of stuff that gets sent in that is like immediately says save this for Friday, or so. Thank you for the attentive listenership to Dan Bernstein Unfiltered, and just how much fun this has been. I can't even tell you. So this one came in a week ago, and it's from Anthony. Anthony says, Dan and Matt, Dan's number 6 Bengal of all time last week was Tigger from Winnie the Pooh. And he prefaced the reveal by stating he needed to be very careful with the pronunciation, and it made me recall the one and only time I was slapped as a child. I immediately called my mom to reminisce about it. Thank you for digging this moment out of the recesses of my mind. And the story goes like this. It was a Friday afternoon in kindergarten, and my class was taught about rhymes. We were given a sheet of all sorts of simple words, and we spent the rest of the afternoon parading around the class, chanting words that rhymed with those provided. Cat, bat, sat, mat, dog, fog, log, frog, light, kite, fight, might. And this novel concept inspired me to continue to find words that rhymed after leaving my classroom that day. My mom took me to the late lamented Kiddie Land, and you might remember there was a game where kids would throw rubber balls into garbage cans that opened and closed, and famous characters would pop out of the cans to make the task harder. One of those characters was indeed Tigger. And I remember gleefully chanting, Tigger, digger, bigger. And after my last rhyme, which I chanted a couple times, I was whacked by my mom. She was beet red and yelling at me to never say that word again as she ushered me away from everyone that just heard me chanting the N-word. I was caught completely off guard. I had never heard that word before. I had never been hit by my mother. It was not until years later did it dawn on me that I was wandering Kiddie Lane chanting racial slurs at the age of 5. Anthony, thank you. Much appreciated. I had to be so careful with that. This is John. Oh, excuse me. Who goes by? Oh, it's the old Magic Wand from Buffalo Grove. He said, "Thanks for the discussion." Yeah. Thanks for the discussion about how current champions would easily beat past champs. You're talking about the Thunder over the 90s Bulls, the 90s Bulls over the late 60s Lakers. On Instagram, I follow an account called On This Day in Professional Football History. It's great seeing highlights of, say, Chargers quarterback John Hadle throwing a touchdown bomb to Lance Allworth. And yes, while they're all-time greats and Hall of Famers, many of these big famous touchdown plays are the result of defense that is worse than the worst breakdowns we see in current NFL games. Also, the conditioning is so bad for 60s and 70s NFL football. The defensive backs in that era are so unathletic, so slow. It's like watching your chain-smoking drunk uncles chasing after NFL wide receivers. Yep. What did Jason Goff call it? The golden age of tackling?
Yes.
Marion Motley running through. That's when people used to tackle. They knew how to square people up and form tackle. Okay. Marion Motley's peeling white guys off of him, throwing them aside. Get off me. Okay. You ready?
Yes.
Okay. There's a couple here. It was sent in by Tim. Tim says, I was listening to DBU and your conversation about John Candy. During this discussion, one of you brought up Bill Murray and about how he's sort of always on. It reminded me of a hilarious story involving Bill Murray and the exact quality that you brought up. Little background here. I'm a detective. No. He said, no, not that detective.
Okay.
He added, parenthetically, not the one that was asking about why we don't say where TV Diddlers is. No. He said, I'm a detective. Several years ago, several local police agencies performed a prostitution sting at a hotel in the McHenry County area.
Uh-oh.
It's okay.
Okay.
Don't worry. I vetted these. It was set up so that the prostitute, actually a cop, was in one hotel room all rigged up with cameras waiting for the customers who were lured there online by other investigators. Once the customer got there, entered the hotel room and said the magic words, suddenly several other cops from an adjoining room would barge in and make the arrest. Pretty simple sting. So, how does Bill Murray fit into this story? Well, this just so happened to be taking place at the same time where Bill Murray was filming a commercial about Groundhog Day in Woodstock. So maybe it was a Super Bowl ad, I can't remember. And where was Bill Murray staying during this filming? The exact same hotel where we were doing the sting.
Oh, God.
Towards the end of the day, Bill Murray's walking into the hotel and is greeted in the lobby by fans. And he's taking time to talk to them. He's extremely friendly. And one of my colleagues happens to be in the lobby and goes up to Bill. He explains to Bill what we're doing and asks Bill if he'd like to participate in a prank on the prostitute. This is the cop who's playing the prostitute. And Bill Murray, being Bill Murray, of course he says yes.
Oh, Jesus.
So we go tell our prostitute that there's one more guy coming, and then we're going to wrap up for the day.
No way.
No sooner, Bill Murray comes strutting down the hallway of this hotel with a huge shit-eating grin on his face. He knocks on the door and is let into the hotel room. So you can see the hesitation on our colleague. So she's thinking, this looks like Bill Murray. Is this really Bill Murray? Is this a prank? Or is Bill Murray actually looking for a prostitute? Being the consummate professional she is, she doesn't skip a beat, does her job, plays along. Meanwhile, in the next room, we're trying to stifle our laughing so hard. He said, I feel like my eyeballs are going to pop out of my face.
Oh, God.
I look up at the monitor, and I see Bill is lying in the bed all by himself, rolling around in the sheets, moaning and crying, screaming, only God knows what. So needless to say, we ended it there. He said Bill Murray was so cool for playing along.
That's amazing. Yeah, I could totally picture him just like doing a Bill Murray thing on the bed, and that's great.
Is that
You know, that poor cop though. I don't know if she was, maybe she's a huge Bill Murray fan. Is like, oh shit, I don't want this to happen, or maybe
Right.
she's not, and she's like, oh my god, this is like the catch of a career.
What are the odds?
Yeah. Oh my god, that's pretty good. And
Isn't it?
of course, he wanted to do it.
Why wouldn't you?
Right? It's Bill fucking Murray. Yeah. Hey, we're doing a sting looking for John. Do you want to do it? Yep, I'm in.
Of course. 5 minutes, you're in the hotel anyway.
Wow. That's great. That's really, really good.
Isn't it?
I love it.
So here now next is Cam in Bridgeport. Dan, your recent analogy about Caleb Williams really stuck with me. How he lacks rhythm right now and needs to embrace being the drummer sometimes, providing the steady backbone rather than always trying to shine as the lead singer. It's a spot-on way to describe the importance of timing, flow, and foundational rhythm in a quarterback's performance, without which the whole band falls apart. And it got me thinking about a fantastic documentary that is this analogy come to life. It's called Rhythm Masters. It's directed by legendary Grateful Dead drummer Mickey Hart. And it explores the deep connections between rhythm and music and sports through a drummer's lens. Mm-hmm. The film includes Phil Jackson, Joe Montana, Marshawn Lynch, Jack Nicklaus, and of course the late Bill Walton, the Grateful Dead's whole vibe personified. He said, the bit on Marshawn Lynch completely changed my whole perception of him as a person, what an misunderstood human that man is. I'm not sure what your thoughts are on the Dead as a band, but someone who appreciates music, you guys would love this doc. If you haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend it. It's available on ESPN+. It's just under an hour. Quick, mind-expanding watch that could spark some great discussion. I'd love to hear your thoughts if you give it a spin. And he sent me a link to the trailer, but that is just a recommendation for you, the DBU listener, from Cam in Bridgeport. And thank you for it.
Were you familiar with that?
I was not.
Okay, was I?
Okay, so yeah, it sounds like a perfect little thing. Maybe I'll watch it this afternoon. This is our guy McClure. When I was talking about those little sesame rods when we were talking about French Quarter dressing and
you mean ranch?
Yeah. So McClure says the sesame rods are called, the Jewel just called them breadsticks. And he said they still have them at the Jewel. And he said, I just remember them in the table settings next to the Sweet and Low and the creamer at the diners my old man liked to patronize. All right. So if they still have them, so I'll next time I visit my parents, I'll bring a bag of those up there. So thank you for that.
Yeah, we need some French Quarter dressing too.
Yeah, we do. All right, so now to close out Feedback Friday.
Okay.
On this Friday, were you gone from the score by the time that Robert in Naperville became a regular caller and an emailer?
I was gone.
You were gone. So you don't remember Robert. The name Robert in Naperville doesn't do anything for you? Mm-mm. Okay. Well, Robert in Naperville sent this email. Great to hear from you, Robert, as always. And, you and I have done a lot of food reviews on DBU. So he just decided to offer, for Feedback Friday, a food review. And this is a review of Taco Bell's Mountain Dew Baja Blast Pie. Have you seen it?
I know, a Mountain Dew Baja Blast Pie.
Look it up.
Wait, Taco Bell sells those?
Taco Bell says it's called the box is right here. Tropical lime, naturally and artificially flavored filling in a graham crumb crust with whipped topping. Notice they don't say whipped cream.
All right, so it's kind of like a key lime pie.
But it is teal. It is original Charlotte Hornets teal.
Yeah, it's the Baja Blast color.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay? This is his review.
All right.
Ready?
Yes.
Sit back, relax, and strap it down. Hey, look, man-made horrors beyond comprehension. No, I did not have to fish this from out of the bottom of a discarded oil drum and lower whacker. And yes, this is an actual item that exists, presumably in honor of, or maybe as an indignity to, the encroaching Thanksgiving holiday. Yes, this has actually been consumed by my wife, my pregnant wife, and she has asked me humbly to convey, please don't call DCFS. She and I have tried this. Fellas, what do I even do here? I let this affront to God into my home willingly, and under what pretense? Some sneering Promethean desire to take the proverbial piss out of what seems like nothing more than innocuous consumerism. Am I supposed to carry on with the rest of my work week as though unseen eyes of nature aren't scowling at my soul from every which way, knowing the unspoken truth that I have committed this grave existential sin? Anyway, here's what it tasted like. The Taco Bell Mountain Dew Baja Blast Pie tastes like if you took Norman Rockwell's famous Thanksgiving print, rolled it up, and shot it out of a T-shirt cannon powerful enough to span a ravine filled with pop rocks. It tasted like Paula Deen in a Guy Fieri costume.
Oh, God.
It tasted like if you repurposed the shell of a baker's square into a skate park exclusively for amphetamine-addicted marmots.
Oh, boy.
It tasted like batteries steeped in the sweat of a man trying to punch his way into a long condemned TGI Fridays.
Oh, Jesus. That's quite the analogy. Though.
Wait, hold on. It tasted like if you took a film strip of just the tunnel scene from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory and redeveloped it in a wash of pre-2010s Four Loko and antifreeze.
Wow.
The Taco Bell Mountain Dew Baja Blast Pie tastes like a vinyl copy of Limp Bizkit's Results May Vary, broken over the head of Randy Quaid, crushed into a fine powder, and snorted through a straw made from fossilized bong resin.
Who is this email from?
Robert from Naperville.
Okay.
It tastes like Guy Fieri in a Paula Deen costume.
Okay. No, you just swapped it around. All right.
It tastes as if you exhumed Marie Callender,
Oh, no.
cloned her remains 12 times, and then Body World posed them into a rendition of Emmanuel Lutz's Washington Crossing the Delaware, but the boat is a giant Vans sneaker. All in all, it was okay. In the words of Terry Bruges Hiplo from Check It Out with Dr. Steve Brule, I give it 2 kisses and 3 wet mouths. And Robert closes with this. P.S. I have a master's degree, I swear. I guess I'll just have to tell people my degree is in being a complete fucking doorknob.
That's really well done. That's some good writing right there.
Oh, that's how you start your weekend right there.
So I didn't look at this email. Is there a picture of?
Oh,
this,
there's
of
multiple
this pie?
pictures.
There's
a picture of the pie, a picture of the box, and a picture of Robert from Naperville contemplating a slice of it. It's in your email. Now you can look at it.
All right, I'm going to look at it now. I need to see this picture. So I don't are they selling it at Taco Bell? Is it sold in stores?
I don't know. I'm not sure I want to know.
Listen, and I love Taco Bell. I mean, I would eat Taco Bell every day.
You know I do.
If I could, right. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I don't think there's any chance that I'm getting a pie of any kind from Taco Bell. I'm sorry, Taco Bell.
Well, you know that's why they do. They obviously know that this is going to become a challenge or going to become a thing. They wouldn't do it the way they do it if they weren't prepared to. And I get they would love to hear a review like this.
My kids occasionally will ask for the Baja Blast drink from Taco Bell. Like, we'll go through the drive-thru just for them to get the drink. They don't get food there, but they just want the drink. And I'm sure, I'm going to assume, without even knowing, that you've never tried it.
Correct.
I've had a sip of it before, and I mean, I've never been a big Mountain Dew guy. I just like to dress like it. Yesterday's outfit apparently draws some comments from our YouTube listeners. One guy was like, I didn't know Mountain Dew made clothes. That was good.
What did somebody say? How, like, if you walk there's no excuse for accidentally driving into a at of cola.
Oh no! If I got hit by a car, there'd be no excuse for the driver to say they didn't see me.
Right.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
Yes. But it is, and I've never been a Mountain Dew person. I've never enjoyed it. I've never wanted to get it. It's just it is. I mean, I would just go take a big bag of granulated sugar and just dump it into your mouth and try to get it down. It's something. They enjoy it. All four boys will drink it. It's funny. My stepsons will take like one or two sips or something like that, and then they're done. Mm-hmm. And like the whole thing is just sitting there on the kitchen counter. Untouched.
The ones with actual Batacola DNA respond
will drink
differently.
The whole thing. Yes,
of course they will.
Yeah, it's.
Well, I remember the first time Jason had Taco Bell, and that's because when we were generally on sports overnights, whether it was
hockey stuff, sure,
whether it was for hockey or baseball, my rule was yes. That no matter what it was, Dad, can we stay up and play shinny hockey in the hallway? Yep. That I pretty much never said no. And if we were driving somewhere and he would see something and say, "Can we stop there?" Yes. Go-kart track, restaurant, whatever it was, I would say yes. And at one point we were coming back, we were just getting our doors blown off in by all these other teams from the Dells. We're up in some of these Wisconsin teams are playing at a Dells tournament, and he's like, "Can we get these Doritos Locos Tacos for dinner?" I said, "You can get as many as you want."
Absolutely, son.
I said, you can get them for breakfast if you want. If you want nothing but Doritos Locos Tacos, absolutely. That's when I turned him on to floor pizza in a hotel room and being able to wake, like the having leftover room temperature pizza the next morning and how great it is. But yeah, and he said something to me. I think he was 8, and he said something because I was really excited to try these, and they're fine. And they're not as good as they looked in the commercials. That's funny. I said, that's a life lesson.
Yeah, I remember when Hank wanted to go through the drive-thru for the first time to get food at Taco Bell, and I'm like, all right, let's go. Now we're getting tacos, do it. And I thought it was going to start like this long-term relationship that I've had with Taco Bell, and it hasn't formulated that way for me. He's fine with it. My youngest stepson, he likes Taco Bell tacos a lot. He'll do those. He'll ask for those on his own accord and want to get Taco Bell. So I'm always down for that. I'm always down for the Taco Bell.
I too.
And it's usually, and when I was still drinking, it could be like a 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, sitting on the couch watching TV, DoorDash from Taco Bell for like $75 to get 5 items.
Seriously, I get the 12 taco like crave pack or whatever they call it, or the 10 taco one. It's seriously like $28.
Yeah. Oh no.
Before all the fees. Yeah.
Yeah. It gets you. Yeah. It's crazy. It gets you.
One thing that you have to get is new windows before the cold really hits, and it's coming. Like you're going to feel it tonight into tomorrow, and for that Bears game,
there's snow coming, bro.
There's snow in the forecast, bro. Indeed, there is. So get your windows. Don't wait. Have Russ Armstrong come to your house, and the Chicago window guys can take care of you, because he'll give you an estimate that matches or beats anybody out there, because he's going to explain what's real and what's not in the window business. Their price match guarantee means if you have one of these phony baloney deals that says buy one, get one free or 50% off, he's going to say, look, I can match that, and you're getting better windows and better service and no subcontracted labor and all the guarantees, lifetime guarantee on parts and labor. And it's all made in Chicago. And the guy. It's Russ. It's Russ Armstrong. It's Chicago Window Guys. He has done windows in my house. He's currently making more windows to put in my house, and I'm waiting for him to let me know when they're ready. So you can get these. These are the same ones that I've got. You're going to have 847-302-9171. He's got all the 5-star reviews you can read at ChicagoWindowGuys.com. Don't wait, because you don't want to wait until the cold is already here. Do it now, because it's gonna go back up into the 50s next week. Have Russ out to your house. He's waiting right now. 847-302-9171 and ChicagoWindowGuys.com.
All right. Is it that time?
I think it is.
Are we there now?
I think we're there. Let me just make sure. Yep. We are there.
Stuff?
We're there.
I'm ready to go.
And I've got my stuff. I have my list. The way we do this when we look at an upcoming Chicago Bears opponent, and just so you know that if you're really interested in everything getting all football-y, and why don't you take the Bears game seriously? Football, sports. That is obviously what Forward Progress is for you today. You're going to want to be a part of that, because Charlotte Carroll of The Athletic in New York, who covers the Giants, is going to be there, and we're going to be extremely satisfyingly football-y. But right now, it's time for the top 10 Giants of all time. And the committee has been hard at work. We start with the committee, and then I will give you mine.
Yep, the committee gave me their list here before we got started this morning. So we have several honorable mentions before we get to our top 10. And just for sake of time on things, I'm going to get through the committee's list a little bit quicker with less detail on things, because I think we're very familiar with all these things. But the honorable mentions we have from the committee, we start with the first honorable mention, Slender Man. The mythical, scary character of Slender Man, who apparently has murdered people, is a tall, thin, frightening online viral story of the Slender Man.
Okay, I didn't know Slender Man was a giant. I just thought he was slender.
He's a very tall, very thin, Slender Man. All right, another honorable mention for the committee, Bigfoot. Bigfoot gets an honorable mention.
See, I didn't count him. He's a cryptid. He is not encrypted. He is a cryptid. He is not a giant. Okay.
Honorable mention does not make the top 10 list. Next, a breed of dog, the giant schnauzer, makes an honorable mention from the committee. Moving on, we have another dog who gets an honorable mention, is Clifford, the big red dog. Clifford gets an honorable mention. The giant in Jack and the Beanstalk gets an honorable mention for the committee.
That was my number 7.
Okay.
Beanstalk giant.
And the last honorable mention for the committee is a gentleman by the name of Robert Wadlow.
Sure, the Corn King.
Known as the alternate giant. He's in recorded history the tallest man ever at 8 feet, 11 inches. You've seen pictures of this dude?
I have. Terry would always talk about Robert Wadlow, the Corn King. Yes.
Yeah, and like pictures of him next to his father. His father was 5'11", I think. Or no, yeah, I think he was 5. Yeah, and it's insane to see someone 8 feet tall, 11, almost 9 feet.
Did you see that the University of Florida just had a player on the court who was 7'9"?
Did they really?
Yep.
Jesus.
Yes.
That's insane.
Yep.
Absolutely
7'9".
insane.
Yep.
All right, so let's get to our top 10 Giants of all time, according to the committee. Number 10 checks in. I don't know if you know the name Christopher Lee Rios.
I don't.
Maybe you know him better by his stage name, Big Pun, short for Big Punisher.
Okay, yeah.
So Big Pun gets an honorable mention, or gets a spot in the top 10 list at number 10, an American rapper emerging from the underground hip-hop scene in the Bronx. He came to prominence upon discovery by fellow Bronx rapper Fat Joe. Big Pun signed with Fat Joe's label Terror Squad Productions and Loud Records in 1997 to release his debut studio album, Capital Punishment. So checking in at number 10, Christopher Lee Rios, Big Pun. Big Punisher. Number 9, is a family film and a family favorite here at the Batacola House, Little Giants, the 1994 film starring Ed O'Neill and Rick Moranis. But youth football, the O'Shea brothers, Ed O'Neill and Rick Moranis. Little Giants, 1994 film, checks in at number 9. The number 8 on the list of the committee for the top 10 Giants of all time is the giant fiberglass statue of Paul Bunyan.
Not Paul Bunyan himself.
No, it's the giant fiberglass statue. It was known as the Hot Dog Muffler Man, originally located in Cicero, Illinois. Was installed there in 1968 in front of a hot dog stand right there on Ogden Avenue, Route 66. That is very prominent for the committee, as one of the members of the committee lived right down the street and would often drive past the giant fiberglass statue of Paul Bunyan out in front of the hot dog stand.
And that's because there's another famous one that I was going to reference later. I'm not aware of the local one.
Oh yeah. And so I grew up in Berwyn, and so we would always go down that area. My dad worked, his trucking company was in Cicero, so we would always go down Ogden and get into that area. And I remember seeing that for the first time and just being so fascinated with it. The giant fiberglass statue of Paul Bunyan holding a giant hot dog. Number 7, we're going to go underwater for the next couple for the committee. Number 7, the blue whale, the largest mammal on the planet, can get up to 100 feet, over 200 tons. The blue whale checks in at number 7. Number 6, we stay underwater, and the giant squid checks in for the committee. Number 6 on the top 10 giants of all time. The giant squid can get over 50 feet, over 600 pounds. The giant squid. What book is that you got there? Are you reading about the giant squid right now?
Richard Ellis's book about the giant squid. It is tremendous about the lore, the mystery, the search. That after this book came out, for the first time, Architeuthis was actually recorded by some Japanese scientists. Giant squid for me, it's a trap.
Yep.
Is number 3.
Number three, the giant squid.
Number 3, all-time giant is Architeuthis, the giant squid.
We have number 6 for the committee. Checking in at number 5, so we're in the top 5. John Arthur Johnson, Jack Johnson, also known as the Galveston Giant, an American boxer.
By the way, I'm showing that the idea of this, you know the idea of a sea serpent? What this book will tell you is the concept of a sea serpent was created when a dying giant squid would be flinging a single arm through the surface of the ocean.
Like trying to get help, signal for help. Hey, I'm dying here. I'm dying here.
That is what created the myth of the Kraken, the myth of the sea serpent.
The giant sea serpent. All right, number 5 for the committee. Jack Johnson, the Galveston Giant, was an American boxer who, at the height of the Jim Crow era, became the first black world heavyweight boxing champion. His 1910 fight against James Jeffries was dubbed the fight of the century. Johnson defeated Jeffries, who was white, triggering dozens of race riots across the U.S. According to filmmaker Ken Burns, for more than 13 years, Jack Johnson was the most famous and most notorious African-American on Earth, widely regarded as one of the most influential boxers in all of history. Jack Johnson, the Galveston Giant, checks in at number 5. Number 4 for the committee is the Jolly Green Giant, the mascot for the Green Giant brand of canned and frozen vegetables, known for the catchphrase, ho, ho, ho. Created in 1928 for the Minnesota Valley Canning Company, which later became Green Giant.
That is my number 2.
Number 2. And number 4 for the committee. So we're there. We got a couple.
Yep. Jolly Green. Jolly Green is
Giant.
right there at number 2.
Number 3 for the committee, and needs no explanation or further detail, the Incredible Hulk. The Incredible Hulk checks in at number 3. Number 2 for the committee, even if you're not a religious person, this name is very familiar to most of us, Goliath, of the famed David and Goliath story.
Goliath of Gath is my number 4.
Number 4. Look at that. We got 3 so far. The committee and Dan. And the number 1 Giants of all time for the committee, and this is a no-brainer and should be no debate whatsoever, but number 1, most famous Giants of all time, Andre the Giant checks in at
Also,
number 1.
my number 1.
Oh my God! Look at that.
Andre the is my number 1.
Awesome. So that concludes the committee's top 10. So we go Andre the Giant, Goliath, Incredible Hulk, Jolly Green Giant, Jack Johnson, the Galveston Giant, the Blue Whale, the Giant Squid, Paul Bunyan, Little Giants, and Big Pun, Christopher Lee Rios.
All right. Are we ready?
Yes,
I'm going to start with my honorable mentions. Because the ones that are shared, I have a couple of notes on them as well. But on my honorable mention of the top 10 Giants of all time, a man that I got to have a conversation with the other night, Andre Drummond. He is just a massive human being and a wonderful dude. I'm hoping to have him as a guest on 312 Sports at some point. He seemed willing to do that. He has the most disarming smile, and he can, when he's not smiling, he can look extremely intimidating. He is everything about him is big. His head is big. His hands are big. He is just a large person, and the moment he smiles at you, he's warms your soul. Andre Drummond, honorable mention. Also, honorable mention, the band They Might Be Giants. They're a fine line for me. They Might Be Giants they're both very bright men. They've done some wonderful children's music. There is a very fine line between quirky and pleasurable and immensely annoying. And perhaps I can embody that too. So I probably should know it. But sometimes if I'm in the right mood, whether is it a birdhouse in your soul or a bird cage in your soul, they have some things that are super catchy and poppy and hooky and fun. And other times I just want to take their instruments and break them over their heads. But They Might Be Giants, honorable mention. Number 10 on my list is the character Fezzik. Not the actor portraying Fezzik, but the character of Fezzik, who was written by William Goldman in the story Princess Bride that was then made into the famous Rob Reiner movie. That character, believe it or not, one of the actors who auditioned for the role and was under consideration was Liam Neeson.
Oh, wow.
And eventually we know that it went to Andre the Giant. But the character of Fezzik is my number 10 Giant of all time. Number 9 is the movie Giant from 1956. A very important movie of its time, and it's been understood as the sprawling, epic Western drama based on Edna Ferber's 1952 novel of the same name, known as the last of James Dean's 3 films as a lead actor. He was nominated for an Academy Award. He was killed in a car crash before that film was released. And the cast was Elizabeth Taylor, Rock Hudson, James Dean, Mercedes McCambridge, Dennis Hopper, Sal Mineo, Earl Holliman, and more. It is not
a
only
bunch of no names then.
Not only is it believed to be the inspiration for the TV show Dallas, simply because it is about oil in Texas, and the patriarchal villain also is a JR, and it was believed that the character of J.R. Ewing was in large part built as an homage to this movie.
Who shot him?
What's her name?
Who shot JR?
I forgot. I just remember it being a big deal. But there was a little note in here, and it certainly comes after what we have talked about your favorite Top Gun. In April of 2015, LGBTQ magazine The Advocate says that the movie Giant, quote, gets some kind of an award for the most gay and bisexual actors ever in one film, unquote. noting that James Dean, Rock Hudson, Sal Mineo, and Earl Holliman were all either bisexual or homosexual. So, an added note for the importance and cultural significance of the movie Giant at number 9. Number 8, Gog Magog. Yeah, you heard me. Gog Magog, who was an ancient giant of lore, made famous once again in the Stephen King book Fairy Tale, which, if you haven't read, is a nice little lark. I picked it up at an airport just because I wanted something to read on a flight, and it was just that. And the sort of Lovecraftian uber villain is also named Gog Magog. Number 7, as you mentioned, the Beanstalk Giant, and that is because the Fee Fi Fo Fum. That's his.
Yeah.
That's his. That belongs to Beanstalk Giant. Number 6 is Paul Bunyan, and the statue that has made the impression on me is in Bemidji, Minnesota, where I have been, and I have seen the famous, as you arrive in Bemidji, Minnesota, you see the famous Paul Bunyan statue. I think it's actually shown at one point in the movie Fargo. I think that is you see a little drive-by of the Paul Bunyan statue. I'm not sure if it's the beginning or the end. Number 5, if you're a baseball fan, the Chicago American Giants. The Chicago American Giants, the Chicago-based Negro League team from 1910 until the mid-30s, the American Giants, the most dominant team in black baseball. And they played in Shorelings Park, in Perry Stadium in Indianapolis, and then in Comiskey Park from 1941 to 1950. So if you know baseball history, you know the history of baseball in Chicago, it cannot be written without the significance of the Chicago American Giants. Number 4 on my list is Goliath of Gath. And what this lets me do is steer you to my favorite painter, Caravaggio, who has done multiple iterations of the picture of David either holding up the head of Goliath or standing over the slain Goliath. And some of the most important works of Caravaggio were variations on this particular theme. So for that reason, for me, Goliath of Gath is number 4 on my list. Number 3, I mentioned, Giant Squid. Number 2, the Jolly Green Giant. And number 1, Andre the Giant. And as we appreciate Andre the Giant, what I think is important, if you do any research on Andre the Giant, please, please, please find all of the stories that are told about his farts. If you do nothing else, just search Andre the Giant farting stories and get into this YouTube rabbit hole, whether it was his castmates on Princess Bride and elsewhere, whether it was the wrestlers talking about the locker room and everything else. The stories about how prodigious the volume, the duration, there's a famous story from the filming of Princess Bride that apparently brought production to an absolute standstill. That some stories say it was 30 seconds, some say it was 20 seconds, and either way there was a long silence. And Rob Reiner said, "Andre, are you okay?" And he said, "I am now, boss."
I thought you were going to mention his ability to drink cases of beer at a time.
Wine. Well, that's
wine?
a different story. The famous story about the day the Beaujolais Nouveau came out happened to be when he was being suspended from cables in an airplane hangar because he couldn't ride a horse because the horse was collapsing. So they had him suspended on cables that they erased digitally, or however they did it.
Yeah.
In analog fashion, but they had him kind of on the horse, but not with his weight on the horse. And he was so drunk when they would walk the horse out, he would remain suspended in the air, drinking bottles of Beaujolais Nouveau like they were looking like
like
little
12-ounce bottles.
like little quarter bottle, yeah, like beer bottles
Yeah.
almost. And he was
Yeah.
just guzzling wine. Those were the famous stories, and those are my top 10 Giants as the Bears prepare to take on the Giants.
It's good. Good list. And I'm glad we had some crossover there on that one. And he could have been a guy that the horse could have rode in on him. So that would have
That would have been better for indeed.
Better for the horse.
Yeah, for the first time ever, it would actually make sense for all involved to have the horse ride in on Andre. Correct.
All right, and that'll do it for Friday's edition of Dan Bernstein Unfiltered. Remember, subscribe if you haven't to our YouTube channel. That's how you get all the alerts. Hit the little bell icon, and then hit all the 312 Sports Productions, including Forward Progress, where we get very football-y, very NFL-y, and then Organizations Win Championships, a Chicago Bulls podcast with Dan and Jason Bernstein. Subscribe to all three of those, and then tell your friends about them too if they want to get in on some of our sports productions.
And don't forget about our Forward Progress post-game show. As soon as the Bears and Giants are over, I'm going to be sitting right here. Matt's going to be there. We're going to be on, and we're going to be breaking it down with you. It's a blast every single Bears Sunday, Monday. There's going to be a Friday in there. We're always here for you. So keep that in mind. Have a great weekend.
Dan Bernstein Unfiltered on 312 Sports.